Tuesday morning, it's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum. For the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated about what's happening around the business world. Ironically, not a lot of stuff happening in terms of the ceasefire agreement. I know, oil prices ticked up yesterday, but otherwise quiet on that negotiation front. We'll focus on some stories around the United States that you need to know. Of course, we look at the market watch, stocks you're paying attention to, as well as your local and national stories that just need to be aware of out there. We appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday, 7 a.m. We're live here on YouTube. TME Media AZ is where you can find us there. And folks, let's get right into it with that Market Watch. Tough day on the market today, no doubt about it. Global chip stocks are in the toilet. Let's put it that way. Tech sell-off happening. NASDAQ's off by 2% here this morning as well early. Dow Jones right now down 154 points to 51,609. S&P 500 is down 63 points to 7410. As I said, NASDAQ down just about 2% here. 311 points down for it, 25,845. Russell 2K down 15 points today, 2985 for it. Just an overall sell day as it's led by tech stocks down the toilet here today. And by the way, happy Prime Day to all those of you that participate in that. Kicking off today for the next I think it's 4 days. Prime Day underway. Then you got Bitcoin. Let's try to throw some good news in there while we're doing this. Bitcoin down today as well, back down to 62,430. Based off of this sell-off day that we are having here on this Tuesday around the market. Good luck finding anything that's up today. We tried to, but we're going to focus mainly on down stocks. No shocker with the market doing what it's doing today. First one we're going to look at Qualcomm out there. They're down 8.39%. Bloomberg News came out and cited people familiar with the situation. The Bloomberg News did report that Qualcomm is in advanced talks to acquire an AI software infrastructure company called Modular. It's a deal valued at about $4 billion. Qualcomm down 8.32% off of that news today as well. Then there's Oracle. Global tech sell-off happening. We're obviously looking at tech stocks here to begin the show. 1.11% down right now. Nobody's immune for the most part, to this sell-off. We might have one immune to it here in just a second, but Oracle's not immune. 1.41% down right now. They said the regulatory filing that they're cutting 21,000 jobs, which is about 13% of its workforce. And they did that over the past year is what they're saying. Oracle's move to the AI side of things in their company led to those 21,000 jobs cut in the last year, and they're also down 1.57% today. And then there's IBM. This is our hope of an increase, and it is still up today. I wasn't sure. I hadn't checked it in about 20 minutes. IBM is one of the tech stocks bucking this sell-off that's happening today as well. Rising, as you see, 4% here today. They upgraded to overweight by JP Morgan is what happened with this stock overnight. They said, JP Morgan said software continues to drive better recurring revenue, margins, profitability, and cash flow. That's what JP Morgan said about IBM stock. They're the lone or one of the few bright spots. I shouldn't say the lone. There might be some others, some smaller ones that are up today. But in the tech world, it's big that you're up 3.95% by IBM here this morning. So tech stocks taking it very hard here today and driving down the sell-off happening on the market. Later on, when we come back, we're going to look at AMC Entertainment. A couple companies that you probably don't know what they do. I know I certainly didn't. Primoris Services and then Edgewell Personal Care. We'll look at those two stocks along with AMC Entertainment, see what they're up to out there. And again, as I said, Prime Day does get underway from Amazon starting today. I believe it's a 4-day affair again this year. Deals galore everywhere. Even household goods are discounted 15, 20%. Then I saw that a very high-end television that never goes on sale. Amazon's discounting that, a Hisense television, discounting that about $2,000 today. So if you're looking for deals and you're an Amazon fan, There you go. Prime Day happening starting today as well. And if you are an Amazon fan and a Prime Day person, you already know about it, and you're not surprised by what I'm saying. You might be like me, where you wake up and go, "Oh, it is Prime Day now. Maybe I'll look for deals out there." So just giving you a heads up on that. Stories that we are paying attention to today. Apollo. Well, this is the private equity funds companies. You put in your money there. You can call it out at any time. Well, it's been a trend in this industry lately. And now officially Apollo's limiting investor redemptions and its main retail focused private credit fund. The withdrawal request rose to 17% during the second quarter. Brings to question liquidity with these services. The private markets giant said it will cap withdrawals at 5% of shares in the Apollo Debt Solutions vehicle. That's all because investors pushed to pull out about $2.4 billion in that second quarter. That's about 16.8%, if you want to be exactly on the number, during that second quarter. Now, so Apollo did notate a notable regional split, is what they called it, with that second quarter withdrawal request. U.S. onshore clients, meaning U.S. people, they look to pull out about 4.3%, which means redemptions from offshore investors jumped to 12.5% in that second quarter. So this is a $26 billion fund, by the way. It's a non-traded business development company which offers wealthy and retail investors exposure to those higher yielding private credit assets. What they do, they said what withdrawal requests in the previous quarter, meaning the quarter before, was more than 11%. So that'd be quarter one of this year as well. So they're seeing large withdrawal requests, like I said, causing liquidity concerns with capping what you can withdraw. This redemption spike once again spotlights the liquidity pressures that have engulfed global private markets just in this year. Semi liquid private debt vehicles is what these are called. They've been subject to a wave of redemption pressure this year. Not just Apollo, by the way. Investors look to pull their money amid growing anxieties over asset quality, and these funds do continue to struggle to reconcile the less liquid nature of private assets and the retail wealth channel. It's not easy when people start to pull out large sums of money and you don't have it sitting around. You got to start selling assets and things to come up with that money. Apollo's not the only one, as I said, right? If you remember earlier this month, we told you Blackstone, they said they had restricted investor withdrawals from its $79 billion Blackstone private credit fund to 5%. The withdrawal request surged to 10% during the second quarter for that company. But it's not just an American thing. Over in Europe, right? Switzerland's Partners Group, they warned that they may curb redemptions in several of its private asset vehicles because of surge in exit requests over there as well. So it's a whole industry problem. And if they don't have the money to withdraw and you can't get your money in a timely fashion because they're capping it to 5% per person, well, that obviously can lead to other concerns and issues out there with these private credit companies out there. So if you're part of that, just a heads up out there. And to me, it's a sign of changes in the market and something to pay attention to moving forward with people wanting their money out of these adventures. Let's go to EV automotive companies right now and Lucid Group. Their big presence here in Arizona as well in terms of manufacturing. They came out yesterday and said they're going to cut about 18% of its U.S. workforce. They also announced their COO had actually left the company. So it's that second major executive change in recent months. They had a CEO change as well. They're trying to boost profitability, obviously among lower sales and growing competition in that electric vehicle market. These job cuts do highlight mounting pressure on EV makers to rein in costs as consumers gravitate towards lower price models of EVs. Lower price models are still selling, for EVs, decently for EVs. These higher end models are the biggest concerns, and sales are lagging on that side. But, there's intensifying competition on that lower end from the established automakers, right? GM, Ford with the Mach E, for instance, and newer entrants always coming into this EV market is weighing on profitability. You got to lower prices to compete. Lucid declined to provide details on the number of employees that are impacted, but they had about 9,000 employees globally as of December 31st of 2025. They did say the cuts would affect full-time employees, contractors, hourly manufacturing workers as well. So it's company wide here. It's not just from that management level. Lucid also scrapped the second shift of its AMP1 factory. That's its primary EV production facility, also. So no second shift now there. Back in February, Lucid had cut 12% of its U.S. workforce. Back then, it was trying to conserve cash, as well. Heavy spending is a problem in this EV market. So, Lucid, well, they've been grappling with operational setbacks, including a supplier related issue that disrupted deliveries of its Gravity SUV back in February. That's the Gravity SUV is the SUV they're hanging their hats on to turn a profit for Lucid. Last month, the company suspended its 2026 production outlook pending a review of their business. Lucid has been counting on that Gravity SUV and its upcoming midsize vehicle platform. All of those specific models is what's going to fuel the growth, push them to a profitable side. And keep in mind, they're pursuing a robotaxi rollout through partnerships with Uber and Neuro as well, the self-driving startup out there. And I believe those are the models being made down there in Casa Grande, if I remember correctly. The restructuring will result in about $32 million in severance and other employee-related charges, but they do say they're going to save annually about $158 million with those cuts for Lucid. It's a tough time to be in the car business, let alone an EV only car business right now. Now let's switch to what everybody's talking about there, right? The AI side of things. Microsoft CEO came out yesterday and said some interesting thing about artificial intelligence. The CEO of Microsoft is Satya Nadella. He issued a warning that the tech giants competing in the AI race, they need to ensure that they advance the emerging tech in a way that's palatable to the public. Don't just keep forcing it down people's throat. Make them realize why they need it and how it can help them out there. Is to summarize what he said. Want to be a little bit more specific here. He said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, a handful of companies in the forefront of the AI race calling for large amounts of resources to expand. He says that may not make a compelling case to the public alongside concerns about the safety of AI, but also what does it do for my job, right? Workforce impact. These data centers are turning negative. People do not want them at all in their neighborhoods, etc. Now, he did add that he doesn't think the public will tolerate a few AI models and companies doing all of the learning for the world, meaning one to two. It needs to be spread out. Nadella went on to say that the corporate leaders who view AI as a means to eliminate jobs and reduce costs, he says they're looking at the technology wrong, right? Salesforce, tons of layoffs there as they move a lot of their work to the AI side of things. Yeah. He says that if you're looking to eliminate jobs and reduce costs with AI, you're doing it wrong. And you're looking not only at the technology wrong, but he's saying that they should instead be thinking about his words, reorganizing the job, is how he phrased it. That basically means that these companies need to better leverage their workers' abilities, and AI is a supplement to the workers, is what he is saying. He said that companies need to both have human capital and in house AI capabilities as the token capital. Right? Have your employees do the job, AI backs them up. I like this angle from the Microsoft CEO. Now, he says that could serve as a recipe for how firms across the economy can harness both AI and workers. He did acknowledge, though, that it's not a lot of change management, it's a lot of displacement, is what he's talking about here. But he said there is a path. Microsoft, well, they've recently pivoted in the AI race. They're offering a suite of low cost models that aim to reduce prices for customers. Many are facing mounting bills amid the push of the implement AI tools into operational tasks. And they pivoted because they're offering with their Copilot service, they're getting more. They're even talking about bringing China's DeepSeek into their Copilot bad bundle as well. So he's saying spread it out among companies and most importantly, don't just fire a bunch of people, which we're seeing. We had that story, what, last week, I believe it was, where AI is the number one reason for layoffs within companies over the last year. So he's saying work together moving forward. Speaking of electric vehicles, we had that story earlier on Lucid. Well, for a second time, Tesla officially leads Cards.com list of the most American made vehicles. Not a shocker because Tesla's made all in America, but it is interesting because it comes as the U.S. electric vehicle market that it not just helped build, it pretty much built it. The EV market here in America shrinks all because of that post tax credit situation, right? The $7,500 credit. I got EV sales updates here for you coming up in just a couple seconds. But Cars.com did all this, and they said this week that for the sixth straight year, the Tesla Model 3 named the number one spots on the American Made Index. The Model Y followed at number two for a second consecutive year. So obviously, top two spots go to Tesla as well here. American made. I'll give you the stats here on how they determine this in a minute. Stellantis, well, that Jeep, it took the next two spots. The Gladiator and the Grand Cherokee came in third and fourth. And then Honda placed five vehicles in the top 10. That's the Honda Ridgeline, Odyssey, Accord, Passport, even the Acura MDX were the other ones from Honda and the American Made Index. The 2026 Lame named 86 vehicles on it. Well, last year they had 99 vehicles listed on there. Cars.com said the drop to automakers trimming the lineups as President Trump's tariffs introduced last year worked their way through the industry. So basically, less car models out there is what they're saying. Cars.com weighed each eligible vehicle on a 100-point scale across five factors: American Made Index, location of final assembly. It was the first thing they looked at. The percentage of U.S. and Canadian parts is reported under the American Automotive Labeling Act. The U.S. manufacturing workforce relative to output, and then also the countries of origin for available powertrains is what they looked at for the American Made Index. No car is made specifically only in America. You get parts from Mexico or Canada sent down, etc. out there. The final assembly location is a major factor in this reporting. Cars.com said a vehicle has to roll off one of the 48 U.S. plants run by 13 automaker groups in order to qualify at all for this list. So that's why imports never appear on the list. I know Honda's on there, but they're obviously made in America as well. But no imports on this list. And a U.S. built model loses points for imported volume. Tesla's dominance of the index comes obviously as a big challenging time, as we just talked about with the EV makers. New EV sales fell 27% year over year in the first quarter of 2026. It went down to about 216 and a half, 216 of 4,000 units is what we're looking at here. So 216,400. I don't know why I couldn't say that number there, right? This is all according to Cox Automotive's Kelly Blue Book. EVs made up just about 5.8% of all new vehicle sales. It was flat from the prior quarter, but a steep dip from the 10.6% market share that they had in the third quarter of 2025, and that's when those rebates were taken away. So you see, people, those rebates were. I'm not going to lie to you. I bought an EV. One of the reasons I bought one was it was a better deal, but also the rebates made it even a better deal out there as well compared to the gas counterpart of the car that I was looking at as well. So there you go, Tesla continuing to be an American-made company, and well, you drink sodas and you go, "What's in this thing?" Especially now when you have all these variations of sodas out there. Well, you'll soon be able to scan certain sodas to get additional nutrition information. Yeah, the American Beverage Association came out this week and said that the major companies that it represents, which is the big ones, Coca-Cola, Keurig Dr. Pepper, PepsiCo, well, they say that these companies will use QR codes on their packaging. It's going to link soda drinkers to a website created by the trade group that provides more information about the beverage's ingredients. The website's going to be called Good to Know, what they're going to call it. It features a list of more than 140 ingredients found in different beverages. Each is accompanied by a definition, the types of products in which the ingredient is found, and where it is authorized worldwide. So you can see if something's banned, for instance, in Europe, but allowed here in the United States. While some of the listed ingredients will be familiar to customers, there'll be a bunch you've never heard of. One example they gave is one called lion's mane, which, oh my gosh, do they pluck lion's manes and put it in our sodas? That's one of the examples that they talk about. The site does not provide ingredient breakdowns for each brand. So, consumers, well, you'll have to look at the label on your can or bottle to see exactly what it contains, but you can get the definitions of it from the sites and decide whether it's good or not. Other brands participating in this new QR code initiative, well, Celsius, Monster Energy, Polar Beverages, even Red Bull participating in this website as well, the Good to Know site. The American Beverage Association said the information on the Good to Know site aligns with that from global food and safety agencies. Customers can access safety assessments from the Food and Drug Administration, the European Food Safety Authority, and even Health Canada. So that's what I'm saying. You can look and see if it's something is banned in Europe or something's banned in Canada, but allowed here in the U.S. That'll kind of open your eyes and say, well, why is it banned there, but not over here? You can make your decision on if you want to drink that drink or not coming up as well. Interesting what they're trying to do to help as there's a health trend here in America over the last several years, right? Make America healthy again. It's got that initiative is what's leading to this. And I will say, if you care to know, it's not bad to know what you're drinking. Most people don't know. And if you're curious, want to look it up, you should have that option and not hide things out there as well. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, you know what the big story was here in the Phoenix area yesterday? That's right. Bucky's is officially open. We'll kind of tell you how that went and how you can head out there for all the Bucky's gear that you want out there in Goodyear. We'll talk about that, plus other local stories coming your way. Mudnor look at the market, and of course, we'll look at AMC Entertainment, Primarius Services, Edgewell Personal Care. All those companies we're going to look at in the Market Watch as well. So come on back. It's McCollum on Business. Welcome back here to McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Of course, we are here live at 7 a.m. on YouTube. TME Media AZ is where you can find us. Live out there, of course, all of our programming on demand here at YouTube. Well, all of it except for the Real Matrix, which you saw a commercial for as well there. The Real Matrix is actually found over on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media, where you can find the Real Matrix. But all of our programming, including the Real Matrix, is over there on a Rumble. Everything but the Real Matrix is on YouTube for you. Of course, we go live for this show, 7 a.m. On the YouTube, TME Media AZ, and then, of course, the main event, which is coming up 8 to 10 a.m. as well live on YouTube as well on TME Media AZ. The Pit Stop, which comes to you on Wednesdays, posted on demand on both YouTube and on Rumble, and then the Real Matrix on Fridays at noon. You can find that programming as well on YouTube and Rumble, or excuse me, on Rumble for the main for the Real Matrix over there. Sorry, I just caught my eye on the computers of just all these new headlines are coming up on the business pages, and I don't know why there's called breaking news when it's not really breaking news out there. I got excited for a minute; something big was happening. Of course, everything's got free podcast systems except for the McCollum on Business show out there. Just search the show names; it'll pop up for you. For those of you that'd rather listen to the show in the audio forms, of course, social media for every program. This one has it; it's just not set up yet, or it's not ready for you yet. It's coming your way, the social media for the business stories out there, plus interviews we have coming up and things will soon be posted there on Twitter. Don't forget to follow TME Media AZ on Twitter as well as we keep you updated on what's happening here. That's the parent company of all of our programming as well as TME Media AZ as well. Ann checks in, and don't forget, join the chat on YouTube as well. Ann checks in and says, my husband purchased a Tesla in April due to rising fuel costs with his trucks. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like I said, one reason I bought an EV was one, the rebates. Would I have bought one even without the rebate? Probably, and that's because I drive a lot. I put 35,000 miles on my car in the first year with teenagers and things to that effect. Plus, I work about 40 miles from my house here in the downtown Phoenix area, and it saved me a ton in gas. Yes, you do have a little bit higher of an electric bill. Mine's about $200 more a month for my electric bill. But I would have be spending $400 to $500 in gas. That was before gas went up to the 450, $500 range out there. So EVs are specific purchases. I just don't think you should force people into the EVs, which is what they were trying to do at one time as well. But it is amazing when gas prices do go up and flirt with the $5 range, how many people want to jump into those electric vehicles. So it will be interesting seeing electric vehicle sales over the last 3 months when those reportings come out, because that's obviously when the oil and gas prices shot through the roof out there. But join the chat there, of course, TME Media AZ as well. With all that being said, let's get back into that Market Watch. No sound there for you on that Market Watch. There it is. No big deal. Just my soothing sounds of my voice is what you get. Dow Jones is down 9 points right now. So we are seeing, less of a sell-off happen as the market continues. We're, about an hour into the market day. Dow Jones down, well, it's down 15 points now, but I can't tell you it's trending towards the positive. For that, the S&P 500, 59 points down here today. The NASDAQ, well, it's still down big. Tech is having a sell-off early today. The NASDAQ's down 324 points right now as well. The Russell 2K is down 11 points still. And then Bitcoin still down, actually getting worse, 62,495 for Bitcoin. I think I told you last week, a lot of people were taking money out of Bitcoin when it was at that 85,000 level. They were putting it into other cryptocurrency sources like Coinbase, more of general cryptocurrencies, but also a lot of people put that money into SpaceX as well as that IPO was coming up. So Bitcoin finding kind of this base right now at 62,000 for Bitcoin here today as well. But the global chip sell-off continues here on this Tuesday, and stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, AMC Entertainment is going to be our first one. You know them, movie theater, etc. 22.83% down here today, folks. And by the way, box office record numbers this year. Back to pre-COVID numbers, let's put it that way. And AMC still down today, 22.83%. AMC Entertainment said it's entered a definitive agreement with certain institutional investors. They're doing the sale of 95.3 million shares of AMC common stock. That bait comes out to about $200 million. Yeah, it's not a lot of money when your share's trading at $2 a share. Right. The stock yesterday closed at $2.76. So down to $2.14 right now, $2.14. for AMC Entertainment. Obviously, making this deal and it dilutes other shareholders out there. Causes the stock to drop here. 22.46% for AMC Entertainment in a big blockbuster year where some big movies still coming up. Supergirl comes out this weekend. You still have Doom, not Doom, Dune, excuse me, Dune, Dune, coming up later in the year. You of course got Doomsday, the Marvel movie coming out in December. So you still got some big movies coming out already on a record, a blockbuster year. Toy Story 5, we told you yesterday, huge numbers over the last weekend. Primarius Services is the next company we're going to look at. What does this company do, you say? Well, they lose a lot of stock here today. 26.94% is what they do. They are a specialty contractor and engineer firm, is how they label themselves on what they do. They're down 26.82% right now. They said they lowered their guidance on additional renewable cost overruns and delays. They also announced the departure of its COO. But yeah, lowered their guidance. Never good for companies, down 27.32% here today. And then Edgewell Personal Care is the last stock we're going to look at. We found another one up. So we got IBM and Edgewell leading us positive today in a doom and gloom type of a day around the market. Bloomberg News came out. You know them. They cite people familiar with the situation. They said Bloomberg News said that the consumer goods company, which is Edgewell Personal Care, they rejected an unsolicited takeover offer at $30 a share from a private equity firm called Yellowwood Partners. The board considered the offer too low. That's why they rejected it at $30 a share, which obviously is a premium. They're up 13.95% based off of that Bloomberg News report coming out as well there on the market. So it's fun to get a couple companies you're not as familiar with out there on the stock market. By the way, SpaceX down again today. We don't have the graph for you here. Let me do this. Do some production stuff as we're sitting here. Let me pull up the chart here of SpaceX. If you bear merit with me, why we do it, because I do see it is trending down again today. How close are we to that $135 opening numbers? Kind of the question that we have right now, because we are getting closer to it as well. And of course, not popping up for me here. Let me try one other thing. They have the long number on there, and it doesn't always pop up as I'd like it to out there. So, yeah, it's not going to come up for me on my screen. I do see that it is down here today, though, on the market. I was just curious how close it was to that $135 level that it was. That of course it opened at there, so maybe I can get that before the end of the show. But we know now. Yesterday was a big day out there in Goodyear. Lines were through the roof, parking lots full out there at the Buc-ee's in Goodyear. Yes, again, folks, celebrate it, enjoy it. I guess you can say. But it'll be open. It'll be open next week. It'll be open a month from now. It'll be open a year from now, where you can hit it up and avoid the crowds as well. Yeah. So lines of cars at each gas station driveway, which they have 140 something. Blocked the roads there. Parking lot was full. They opened the parking lot up shortly after midnight. Then people flooded in and filled up their very large parking lot. People, went to get in line, of course, and the store opened at 6 a.m. yesterday. They had an 8 a.m. ribbon cutting ceremony where the governor was there reading off an iPad. It was an interesting read. The long awaited opening for this Buc-ee's, which was delayed a few times, it's continuing to expect to bring big crowds, lots of traffic to that location for several weeks, they say. It's on your way to California out there in Buckeye, right? Interstate 10 and Bullard Avenue, if you'd like to know where it's at. If you haven't heard, it's not it's not just a gas station. I call it a mini Walmart is what it is. But they serve barbecue. Actually, I saw yesterday that they serve the most brisket of anybody in the United States. That includes barbecue places and everything. Yeah, their brisket they hear is to die for. The Bucky's Nuggets or whatever they're called are really good. But they do. I will say this: what I like about them, Now, Bucky's, their beef jerky wall is ridiculous, and I'm a huge beef jerky guy. Yeah. But people from inside Arizona, outside Arizona, all drove to see this Bucky's yesterday as well. The store basically occupies 74,000 square feet out there. Goodyear officials are continuing to tell visitors to be prepared for long lines, even to drive into it and park and get gas as well. They say yesterday you were funneled 6.5 mile route through Goodyear in order to get there. I don't know. I was trying to find out if they're still doing the outside route to get to this Bucky's, or if they've kind of streamlined it now. Yesterday you couldn't exit the freeway and hit it up right away. You had to go that 6.5 mile route out of your way to get there. I was trying to figure out today if that's still the case, or if they've opened it up to normal size. But that obviously was a big story yesterday. Good for Goodyear getting that out there. I saw an interview with the owner of Bucky's. Ironically enough, his name is Beaver. His nickname. Not a shocker, right? If you know that's their mascot. He said new ones could be coming to Arizona as well, Bucky. So yay, get excited. I just can't get excited for that. It'll be open next time I drive that way. I'll hit it up probably. Hey, two flight schools over in Mesa, they're suing Mesa in federal court, all because of the Mesa's implementation of landing fees out there at Falcon Field Airport. The suit was filed by a company called Thrust Flight and CAE Aviation. They claim that Mesa acted illegally to implement those landing fees, but the city said the lawsuit, no shocker here, the lawsuit lacks merit. Now, Patrick Arnzen is the CEO of Thrust Flight, and we get this part of the story from KJazz. Just you know where to go and find your news out there. Besides here at McCollum on Business, he said the fees could set a dangerous precedent here in this world. Amzen said his business is being penalized for the noise issue, an issue the city has repeatedly denied as a motivating factor behind the implementation of the fees. But if you remember, lots of complaints from the neighborhoods that were built up around Falcon Field, not tons of complaints, and all of a sudden, the complaints, and all of a sudden, landing fees are necessary. Yeah, got to recurb the takeoff and landings out there with those flight schools. Yeah, it had something to do with it, folks, even though Mesa denies it. Now, if you remember, back on March 23rd, the Mesa City Council voted unanimously to adopt the landing fees. They were scheduled to take effect May 1st. The program was delayed by the request of the FAA, which is currently investigating the city's intention for the fees. In a statement, the city said the fees are now scheduled to take effect on July 30th. Now, according to court documents, the city and the flight schools tried to resolve the issue prior to the city's motion to dismiss the lawsuit. By the way, the city did file a motion to dismiss it with no merit, which is interesting. Why would you try to settle it if there's no merit? Yeah, June 16th was when Mesa filed that motion to dismiss the suit. The other side of it is they implemented this March 23rd and the fees were starting May 1st. Why so fast? There's reasons behind it, folks. Make no mistake about it. Mesa is trying to curb the noise and the complaints from the surrounding community. It's what they're trying to get on top of. There's some big money up in that area, if you catch my drift. Allegedly. According to court documents, the city argues the plaintiffs do not have a right to act because the jurisdiction falls outside of the courts and belongs to the U.S. Department of Transportation and the FAA. The FAA is involved with it as well. Of course, the city, they declined to comment on any pending legislation as well. We have a lot of flight schools here in Arizona. Scottsdale has flight schools up there. They have landing fees. I'm not opposed to the concept of landing fees, but let's be honest about why we're doing the landing fees. Let's be honest about that, Mesa. How about that? Instead of not being truthful from that perspective, it's kind of where I'm looking at the way that story goes as well. Now, SpaceX, I do have it here. SpaceX is down. I'm sorry, SpaceX moved to the positive side today. Was down earlier, 1.04% up as of right now, and it's had several days of negative on the day. It's trading at $156.27 right now. So it is getting closer to that 135 initial public offering, but still $20 above it as of today here as well. And this morning it was negative earlier, and it's moving up to that positive side. So maybe that slide of SpaceX is done. Now, SpaceX did say that they're buying a AI company to go in, of course, with their XAI yesterday, and that kind of tanked their stock yesterday. I People a lot of times talk about an AI boom, kind of like the old .com boom back in the '90s. AI people are squawking at it, but I just there's a lot of money being pumped in AI that just cannot be sustainable coming up. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that level. And folks, speaking of watching, appreciate you joining me here today, 7 a.m. Don't forget, share us with your friends, like, subscribe the YouTube page, if you will. Main events coming up. If you're interested in sports, come and join me as well here from 8 to 10 a.m. Dale Hillestray's off again today. Maybe we'll have a guest coming in. He's scheduled to come in as well. Our normal Tuesday guest, Bruce Cooper. Come and join me over there live here on YouTube, TME Media AZ. And of course, right after that, we put everything up on demand on YouTube and over on Rumble. Share us with your friends. Catch us. We appreciate you very much. We'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great Tuesday night.